What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue. What I'm going to be doing today is going to be some garlic butter steak bites. This recipe was inspired by a website called cafedelights.com. And what they did was they had made some Cajun butter steak bites. And I thought that recipe was awesome. So when I went to their website, I saw that they also have a YouTube channel. So I'm going to leave links in the description to both their website and YouTube channel. Now we're changing this up quite a bit, so like I said, their recipe is going to serve more as an inspiration than an actual replication. Why don't you guys come on in and take a look at my ingredients. So these are the ingredients we're going to need to hook this recipe up. First of all, I'm starting with some USDA Prime tri-tip strips. We're going to season it with salt, pepper, and paprika. We're going with some chopped garlic, some whole dried oregano, minced onions, some dried rosemary, butter, and to sweeten it up a little bit, we're going to hit it with some maple syrup. First thing I'm going to do off camera is get this meat cut up into cubes. You can cut these into whatever size cubes you want. So I'm going to get started on that, and I'll see you back when I'm done. So now that I have my steak cubed up, we're going to season it. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I'm using tri-tip, but I think a New York strip would work well with this. A ribeye. You're going to want a steak that has some good marbling to it. So like I said, I'm not sure I would have done this with a regular tri-tip. Since this was prime, I did go ahead and use the tri-tip. So we got our seasoning mixed up. We're going to get it in. We're just going to incorporate these seasonings. Now, one ingredient I didn't mention earlier was I will be using a little bit of vegetable oil to sear this steak off. Now, I'm going to be using an electric skillet just because it's easier for video purposes. If you have a cast iron skillet, I think you'd rock that out a little bit better with that. Okay, let's get searing these off. So we have a thin layer of oil in our skillet. We're going to cook these about 2 minutes aside for medium rare and about 4 minutes aside for something a little bit more well done. So that's 2 minutes on that side. Looks like we got some good crust on that steak. Now we're going to go 2 minutes on this side and set them off to the side. So that's another 2 minutes. We're going to remove our steak, drain the oil off of our pan, and get ready for our next step. Now I am going to leave any of that dark crust that's down at the bottom of this skillet. That's just going to be extra flavor. All right, now that we got that oil drained off, we're going to add our butter and the rest of our spices. So we have our oregano, our rosemary, our garlic, our minced onions. I'm going to stir this in. Now I did reduce my heat to about a medium low on this right now. And this butter is going to start lifting up all that goodness from the bottom of this skillet. Now what we've done is we've cooked this garlic down enough to soften up a bit. We're almost done. We just need to add a little bit of maple syrup just to give it a little sweetness. I'm going to turn our skillet off. Add our meat back in with our juices. And we're going to give it a good toss. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to get this plated up, taste it, and see what I think about this recipe. So that's what it looks like all plated up. Now what I did was threw that meat back in the sauce, stirred it up a little bit, turned it down The sauce thickened up a little bit. I put that on my plate, then poured the rest of the sauce over this steak. Let's get in. That little sweetness with the maple, that was a nice touch. Now I cooked this to about medium, maybe a little under medium. I would suggest not going too rare on this, just so you don't have a bunch of meat juice or whatever mixing in with your sauce. Listen, I want to thank Cafe Delights for the inspiration on this. This was an awesome take on her recipe. Anyway, before I get back into this, I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by No Hippie Barbecue. I appreciate it. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.